Give someone life purpose for the holidays. A single reading provides insights and detailed analysis from numerology, astrology, tarot, the I Ching, and the Tree of Life. Why are you here? What is your purpose? How can you fulfill your destiny? Give to a loved one or to yourself. You've waited long enough. Holiday special, life purpose reading for just $133. Order now to have your custom reading completed by the holiday.
I got a couple quick thoughts before we begin into the 23 eternal truths. One is there is a part in the book where there's a subchapter which is why is this book so long? Why is the book so big? And I left one reason out. Part of the reason it's so big and long, and it is kind of mentioned in it, is because, for example, I was watching a movie the other day. There's like a limited series of some movie called Madness. It's like a crime thriller. It's pretty good. It's passing the time. And it's well done. It's well acted. It's well produced. Got a good storyline. And in spite of that, they make a few tiny mistakes where I'm like, no one would do that. No, that would not happen. This is not, and they're very tiny compared to some movies that are just like blatant, right? But the bottom line is, it takes me out of the movie, takes me out of the context, and makes me doubt and lose confidence in the entire thing. Thankfully, this thing's pretty well done, so I'm still into it. But again, the book is long because I feel an obligation to explain things properly. It's not okay to give people partial truths. And unfortunately, that means that the 500 plus page book, which turns a lot of people away. And my philosophy is I'd rather say too much than not enough. Again, as I often use the saying that my dad taught me, I don't know where he got it, that it's not enough to be understood in life. You must be careful not to be misunderstood, especially when we're talking about spiritual and mystical contexts. This age of Kali Yuga is all warped and messed up because of misunderstandings, because people bank on it, exploit it, and they capitalize on the fact that they can cause misunderstandings. And again, what has always mystified me throughout my life is the raging anger and just and an acceptance of other people within religions when they all are talking about the exact same thing in their core, and they hate each other. And it mind blows my mind. They can't see what they have in common. They see only what they have in differences. They all speak about unconditional love of God, and then they go kill each other. So it's a rock and a hard place. I either give half truths and impartialities and make a few people like me that would be reading going like, well, wait a minute, well, you can't just leave that out. Like, what about that? Because that's where I get stuck. When somebody makes a mistake like that in a movie or a book, I'm kind of like, wait a minute. You can't just leave that part out. You can't just not explain that. You can't bring it up and then not even talk about it. So the people that do enjoy the book, such as the two of you and a few others, well, they like it because of that, because I'm very thorough. Now, another thought that has been kind of burning in my mind for the last couple of days, and that's going to tie into these eternal truths. And I'm going to share, I was just going to mention it, and I am going to mention it, and I'm going to read a small piece of it. You're familiar with a rock bottom turning point in my life that I shared within the story about where I was angry with my spiritual progress and growth. I'd worked my ass off. I'd mastered so many things, and I still not. And I was, so let me share it. So, and both of you could identify with that. I'm pretty sure that you did very well. It's in the middle of a sub chapter from Guardian Angels. So I'll have to jump in the kind of middle of it so I don't read the whole thing. I agree, I said. We have both been taught that it is the final stage of transcendence to let go of the bliss joy of mindfulness and come to rest at mindlessness. It causes me to question if it is truly what I want to arrive at, nothingness or everythingness. My Maharaji would enter my life soon after this and tell me, Samadhi is like being submerged in water to escape a swarm of bees. While submerged, the stings of Maya cannot harm you. Eventually, you have to come to the surface, and the bees are waiting. With the grace of my boundless guru, whom I'd yet to meet that day, my choice would be clear: everythingness. I researched Kundalini to college degree levels. I've done the same with TBI and NDE too. All I share on any subject is only what I, after a lot of research, so I don't misrepresent any such sensitive areas of knowledge. This led me to sampling occult societies as I desired to associate with others who sought illumination as I did. I explored many and got attracted to Thelema, Hermeticism, and Western esotericism. My involvement with mystical societies was fulfilling and enjoyable. I had a great time associated with intelligent, highly cerebral initiates, practicing ceremony and studying philosophy within the Order Templi Orientis. Founded in 1895 by Aleister Crowley, I took 3 initiations and became quite adept at ritual magic and familiar with the Order of the Golden Dawn, Enochian magic, Blavatsky's Theosophy, and completed the aforementioned Master Alchemy course and others. All of these mystical modalities serve to enhance and fully activate my Kundalini power. My outer life changed over these times. Sobriety, parenthood, romantic commitment. These things have folded well into my spiritual pursuits, certainly better than drugs, sexual escapades, and life of excess. I was growing up, materially and spiritually. Those close to me knew my spiritual priorities very well and were welcome to participate if they wanted to, but I never pressured anyone to lean into them. I kept my spiritual life discreet, not secretive. Jeanette attended to meetings with me, and we meditated together, and she enjoyed learning the mysteries from me since she did not have the capacity for self-study of them. Brandon grew up around them, but also was never forced beyond healthy and encouraging. After all this labor and sacrifice and mystical progress, I imagine how Siddhartha Gautama felt before he became the Buddha, frustrated, proficient, and near mastering so many techniques, paths, and formula. I still remain bound by the material phenomena, i.e., suffering. When Gautama the Sadhu finally mastered all the yoga and sadhana techniques and realized he was still stuck in the material conscious, he went to Gaia, accompanied the Bodhi tree, and refused to move until he achieved liberation from material suffering. Well, I couldn't go sit beneath a freaking tree for 49 days and nights to become enlightened. I had a child and a sexy, wonderful girlfriend, and my construction career at that time had 30 plus employees. In my despair, I lay in my bed one sunrise and wept aloud. God damn it, you come into my life now. I can't live in this world without you present. I need you. I wasn't praying or even begging God to enter my heart and mind. I demanded he do so now. The surge and fire within my physical body and the spit and fervor spraying from my words and mouth were uncontainable. I had not an ounce of more molecule left in my body as I demanded God enter my life. In person, I am sick and tired of abstract concepts. I want and need to feel you. I need to see you. No fucking burning bush, no fucking white light. I want to see and touch you in person. This went on for nearly an hour. Longing and needing to be connected with God's presence and power and consumed me. There wasn't a molecule in my body not anguishing for divine association. Eventually, I calmed down and got out of bed, lost and useless, moving like a worthless robot through the meaningless events of the day. Lightning strikes. A day or so later, while sitting in my office space at home, I whined about the same thing to the girl I loved. I diatribed over having all this knowledge and experience and training, how fucking useless it all was if I could not pull off the whole enlightenment thing. I stubbornly sat underneath my own proverbial Bodhi tree, digging my heels in. I refused to move, try to go forward with spiritual things without direct contact. I declared I would shove my entire alchemy lab in the fucking trash and set fire to my Yod-He-Vahi Hebrew yantras drawn upon the walls of my meditation room and destroy the magic circle in the center of its floor. I was done. At the end of my tirade, I threw a magazine sitting on my desk across the room for emphasis. My very non-cerebral, quietly peaceful girlfriend calmly glanced at it while allowing me to rant uninterrupted. When I was out of breath, she picked up the magazine and commanded, "Here, go to this. Stop bitching about it and go see how others are doing it and figure it out." This was in response to my final bitching that all my higher learning was a waste and I should just start a cult. Teach all this magical stuff as an added, charge money and bank off it. This was a moment of crisis in faith. Had my life of spiritual adeptship been a waste of time? Were the atheists right after all? The Throne magazine had landed open to an ad. Divine Love Consciousness. Come join us for a discourse on Divine Love Consciousness with live kirtan. And there was a day, time, and address with a photo of the presenter, some late 30s woman in orange robes of a Hindu monk. Now, as both of you know, and people that read this book know, that was the turning point for me. I went to that session and I got direct association with my guru. And soon after that, surrendered and devoted to that life as a bhakti yogi. I shared that anecdote in the story for two main reasons. One, because it happened. And I was told by Akashic Beings, just tell the story, no leave shit out. Just doesn't belong to you, just tell it. We're the engineers, you just lived it, so just tell it. Secondly, because I didn't know what was relevant and what wasn't. And secondly, because as I wrote it and as I look back on it, was editing it, and etc., I realized that indeed, this is an actual example of the prime eternal truth that all of the saints and sages have been telling us since eternity, that it takes complete and full surrender from your heart to become close to God at all, to experience spiritual consciousness. Complete and total surrender within your heart. It is not possible to convey in human language the depth of despair and anguish and anger that I was in at that moment. As I'm saying, it was consuming every molecule in my body. I think I'm pretty good as a writer. But again, even that, as I read it, I'm like, that's a fraction of what I was truly experiencing. I was done, fed up. I now know that, and what I speak of another point in the book, that after I got involved in the bhakti path of my guru, that said, do what you got to do. I don't care what needs to happen to purge my soul from the fire, to bring me to a stage of God realization, to make me qualified. And as I said it, I was like, oh no, look what happened last time. It was all beauty. This time I was like, you can't whistle it back. Because again, from the depth of my soul, there was no, I can't explain it another way. It was 100%, not 99.999, that I demanded that I get to meet God face to face. And that is what a guru is. They're a personification of the God power. All of them. True avatars. Capital G for guru. And they all teach the same thing. All of them. As they all war and fight over the different religions, different paths, they all teach one main thing: complete and total surrender. And that is when you can become divinized by your guru, master, by God. And that's the only way. In these moments, I wasn't aware at the time that indeed, as I say, every molecule, every fiber of my body, every thing in my being was in that moment and wanted nothing else. It was undiluted. It was total. And I am convinced now that that activated where I became what I became spiritually and where I am today. My surrender, my commitment, and all these things that hopefully inspire you and you hear these stories. And as I often also say, be careful what you wish for. I don't recommend it. You don't know how it's going to come out. Because here I am, as many people are, many spiritual people are. I don't know about the future. I struggle materially. I don't have any safety. I know what's going to happen. And I'm sick as shit of it, as we all are. I am sick of it. I paid my dues. I worked my ass off since I was 15 years old. I shouldn't have to worry about a goddamn thing. I really feel that. And as I rage with fist, in anger, with karma and God, and say, what is wrong? What are you doing to me? What is up? What have I done? Why are you doing this to me? And I want to say, and I even say it out loud in my rant, I'm done. Fuck you. I've done everything for you, and I'm getting my ass kicked. I'm done. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. And I'm wondering, like, why, since I spoke from my soul to have God presence, did it work? And now I'm doing the same thing to give material salvation, so I can just be at peace and just be safe, and nothing's happening. And I've been thinking about this. And I thought of Ramakrishna Paramahansa came to mind, that I also mentioned in the book, saying that in his final days of cancer, and his devotees went to him and said, Master, why don't you just ask the God power to relieve you of this suffering? You're one with God. Anything you ask, he will give to you. And he said, as St. Francis did when he lay dying in a ditch, why would I waste my time taking my mind out of loving God for a moment to ask for something so insignificant? But I'm not Ramakrishna Paramahansa. I don't think Ramakrishna was an avatar when he appeared on this planet. I think he became God realized in his lifetime. That's my personal view. I don't know. I know this. I know he was God realized. When it happened, I don't know. But I know he was. I'm not him. I'm not that evolved. I'm not God realized. But as a stupid human, flare and flame and rage over feeling abandoned, not spiritually. I never feel abandoned spiritually. I kind of wish sometimes I would be. Like, leave me alone. Go find somebody else. Because it's a rather abusive relationship. And as I, with fervor and spit and rage and true passion, beg for fucking relief, I can feel that it's not 100%. I can feel the difference. That what feels close to 100%, I know is actually not. There's a part of me, maybe one out of a billion brain cells, that's saying, yeah, but. And I'm asked to myself and maybe from Akashic agents, I don't know, if this is what it takes to become God realized, would you do it? And I keep saying yes. And in my stupid human daily life, I'm like, no, fuck that. No, God, back off. Leave me alone. Holy shit. Stop kicking my ass. But the reality is, if I was at the threshold within the portal and was asked, I know I'm so fucking stupid, I'd say yes. Kick my ass, what you got to do. Why? I got to stop doing that. I think I actually thought over the last several hours of last night and today whether I was going to even share this. And I was on the fence about it, which shows that I was concerned about creative transgression and causing doubt, which shows that I don't want to betray divine rules and divine things, which shows that I'm so committed, which I think is a real sickness. I have a disease, spiritual disease, and there's no medication for it either. And indeed, I thought, well, I can do whatever I want. Apparently, it doesn't really matter what I do. I do everything right and shit goes wrong. I do everything wrong and everything things go right. So it doesn't even matter. I'm not playing by my rules at all. I am simply, my life is owned by divine power, and that's all there is to it. And they do whatever the hell they want with me. I don't care. It doesn't matter. So I can do whatever I want. So I can talk about whatever I want. So I was also wondering, like, so what if my story has a bad ending? You've read this book, and it has what I hope to be a very inspiring ending of encouragement. As I end in a very positive note, saying, I'm going to forge forward. I'm going to do something I've never done before. I'm going to look after this devotee. I'm going to look after my God realization. And I'm going to look after my well-being and even try to be happy. That has been a complete bupkis arrangement. But I did that partly because I think the readers deserved, after going through everything they had gone through with this book, they deserve something inspiring. And because it's part of my illness, I truly believe it. I'm not an optimist. I don't think anybody would define me as that. And yet there I am saying, you know what? Today's a new day. Today's a new life. And I've got a fresh start and I've got blessings and I'm going to make something happen. So I wonder, and I wanted to ask, you don't have to answer right away, but I'd like you to answer even right away or over some time. What if the book ending was this spiritual person that led you through this entire story, that you witnessed miracles that truly happened, and in the end, instead of saying, you know what, I'm going to go to California and I'm going to do my bhakti and I'm going to try to share this with other people and I'm going to live my last days in peace, et cetera, et cetera. I'm going to strive for that. And I'm attempting to do it. Instead of that, what if the ending was I get back from Egypt and it all comes full circle. And I'm like, and you know what? This is all bullshit, man. I've had my ass kicked. I'm done. I'm walking away. Screw all of you. I'm going to go be a hedonist again. What if that was the ending? What if what I said was, apparently, this is all crap. This is all an illusion. This is the real illusion. The only thing that's real is the material world, and you should go do that. Everybody, all on this journey, you bring you to this point, and the fine point was finally, you know what? Walk away from the God thing. That whole thing is a nightmare. Oh my God, what a fantasy that is. You better work hard and buy shit and fucking take care of that's it. What if it would have ended like that? How would that make you feel?
That would be your Buddha moment when you
I
let
I, I
Couldn't
hear
have read it.
go.
I need some volume. What?
Maybe that would be your Buddha moment when you just finally let go. You know what I mean?
But how would that affect you? I mean, again, my thing is this. Part of the reason I want a happy end in my own story, part of it is because I want to be happy. I want to be safe and comfortable like anybody else. I'm a stupid human. Can't help it. And partly because I think I've always been concerned that this story has a bad ending. People might read this entire thing and they're like, yeah, but look what happened. It ended like shit. I mean, I'm not following that guy. That guy's crazy. I mean, why would I go through all this stuff? Again, if there was some type of happy ending, God realization, whatever, then you'd be like, right on. I don't you'd be able to say, whatever's happening in my life, it's happening for a reason. I can deal with that. But instead, so again, I wanted to end it on a positive note, partly because I want people to be inspired. I want them to have faith and believe and keep pressing on. What if it has a bad ending where it's like where my ending is, you know what? I'm miserable, I'm shitty, I'm lonely, I'm poor, I'm homeless, I'm sick, I'm tired. But what if it ends like that?
It kind of did, though.
Fuck you.
She's right.
It's not that dramatic, but it kind of didn't end. It was very anticlimactic. I wasn't left after the book with the ending. I was left with the rest of the book. It was the Guardian Angels chapter. I can remember where I was when I read that, and then I went off on a trip, and it did start to evolve things in my brain. And then I came back to the book, and I did more chapters, and by the end of it, it was like, okay, well, now what? Now what? Now what?
Well,
Okay,
and that's
I've got all of this, and I've got to do something with this now. And I did
right.
see, I kind of saw, well, you don't even know now what. You're working on things, you alluded to them, you speak to them, but about how you're gonna be hands-on the in trying to do something with this, and evolve with it. But even still, it seemed like you were just trudging on like the rest of us, a human who had a lot of information and wanted to share and give it, and now it's on to the next thing. Now it's on to
Well, and
the
I think that indeed, I mean, part of what I'm also pointing out at the very end, even in the last sentences, is exactly that kind of point that the story continues. There is no ending. Not for me, not for you, not for anybody. We all just keep going on and on and on. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm saying that, do you want to know the end? Come with me on this journey. You've come this far. So this story is not over. I have to end it somewhere because it's already 500 pages. So I got to end it somewhere. But is it over? No. Clearly, no. Anytime we keep living, it keeps going. And again, what I'm saying, the very final lines. I don't think it is possible to have a grander and more gracious opportunity to complete my soul's journey than right here, right now, in this very lifetime, not one life after. So I
that's what
agree.
keeps us every day. Every day we're at that point. It's like, okay, now what? What are you going to do today? What are you going to do this moment? What are you going to do next moment? Are you still going to believe? Are you still going to do that?
Yes. And that again is why again, I wanted to end on something positive, but again, I am clearly and very deliberately pointing out that there's no ending. Not for you, not for me, not for this book. The journey continues. It's all in progress. It's all in motion. So yes, indeed, there's no ending. We got to end somewhere. We got to wrap up. We got to go to bed. We got to finish it. We got to pay the bill and get out of the restaurant. We got to walk away. But there is the road. It's going to happen again and again and again. So sure. So that's comforting, I guess. Then once again, the point I was trying to make deliberately did get across that indeed is an ongoing journey. Yeah, I just I think that is part of the message that we all face is that these struggles, they continue. There's only one way out. And again, in my more spiritual moments, and I'd say more often than not, I feel very assured and comforted. When I'm in anguish and wonder, what the hell are you doing to me? I feel Akashic agent saying to me, dude, this is what it takes. Like, this is what we're doing. Like, we're taking you there and you gave us permission. We're doing it. That's it. And I feel, you know what? I'm like, cool. I'm glad I made that deal because I'll be glad in the long run. When it's all over, I'll be glad. Right now I'm miserable, but I'll be glad. So, and again, I think, again, that's a microcosm of life, a metaphor for life. We work our ass off each and every day just to start again. And we do this with not just the illusion, but the reward factor. We work our ass off at jobs and things like that because at the end of the week, we get a paycheck. There's a reason for it. Again, we go in the kitchen, clean, make dinner, whatever it may be, because we're doing the labor because the labor gets results. Otherwise, we wouldn't bother. And the more labor we put in, the more results we get. I mean, the bottom line is if I go into the kitchen for 3 minutes, I'm not going to eat something really good. If I go in the kitchen for half an hour, I'll make something really good. Usually for me, it's somewhere in between. I'm more of the few minutes kind of thing because I don't really give a shit about food too much. Anyway, so I just wanted to share those two things. Now we'll get into eternal truths. And again, the avaranatmik, the Sanskrit word that makes us forget our divinity. That again, this came to me at the end of the book. I mean, the book was with the editors. When I never heard of this term before. And it was when I was watching a speech by Maharaji, my guru, that he just mentioned it in a very casual way. Makes you forget your divinity. And I'm like, what? Don't just roll past that. Me and the other devotee that were watching this speech paused it, simply looked at each other in dumbfoundedness. Like, did we just both hear that right? This major, and again, Maharaji in his usual casual, informal way, just kind of rolling right over it, like it's something we already know, and maybe many people do. This Yog Maya, miracle power that makes you forget your identity, that you're a soul, that you're divine. Makes you forget your divine existence and think you're a stupid human. And I think, as you've seen in this book, if anybody can retain it, I'm one of them. I mean, what I've gone through, what I know, what I share, what I teach, and I want you to know that's not fake. I really do live it. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not downplaying it. I'm a stupid human that's also in a pretty constant awareness of my spiritual reality. And yet there I am again with such miracles that hopefully are inspiring you and that people are reading and saying, this is undeniable evidence that God is real. Like this shit's legit. And I lived it. And how could you forget that? And yet, again, here I am on a Saturday or Sunday when I'm sitting here tonight. On Saturday evening, I'm just going to sit here and probably listen to some music, have a few beers, and I'm going to feel sorry for myself. I don't know about the future. I don't have material security and safety. I'm kind of lonely. I don't have much going on. And I'm kind of angry about it. And so even though I've lived these miracles and see direct evidence and feel direct evidence of God's presence all the way, Avaranatmik, by this evening, I'll be like, yeah, well, fuck you too. Having a beer, listening to some music and wallowing in my own self-pity. And I look to them and say, you know what? I don't like it. I don't want it, but I am entitled to it. I'm paying my dues. Anyway, I know what it all means. I know where it all goes. I'm just a scribe. I'm just telling the story. And again, eternal truths, 23 that are bullet pointed at the end of the dialogue chapter. I knew this is an important chapter. What I share within dialogue with the other side is vital information. And again, the book is big because it wasn't worth going through all that when it's so overwhelming, it's so much, you can't possibly retain all that. So I give you the bullet point of 23 of them so that you can go back anytime you want and look at them. Will people? I don't know. All I can do is give them the knowledge. That's up to them if they're going to actually put it to use. In many ways, yeah, it's something we could post on the wall and look at every day. The 10 Commandments. They didn't start off so simple and rather stupid. Thou shalt not kill. Duh, really? Oh, wow. I'm glad you straightened that out for me. I wasn't sure. I was on the fence. Oh, no, don't steal? Oh, phew. Dodged a bullet there. Thank God for pointing that out. Again, the 10 Commandments are the simplified version. What Akhenaten, who is the true historical Moses, had at the gates of the Akhenaten city that he built there wasn't 10 of them. I think there were, I don't remember. It's in the book. I do mention it in the book. Or actually, maybe I mentioned in the next book when I write the whole story. And it wasn't, but indeed it was, if you're going to come and live here, anybody can come and live here. Everyone's welcome. But we have some rules, and that is be kind to one another, be respectful, all these kind of basic tenets that were commandments. If you wanted to come live here, that's fine, but just agree to these things or we're just going to tell you to leave. We're not going to hurt you. We're not going to kill you. We're just going to tell you you can't live here. So it's a unanimous kind of utopian decision to live within Akhenaten that you agreed to these tenets. And again, they were posted on pillars at the entrance of the city. I think it was beautiful. My past life there that's described in the prophecy chapter, again, it's so intense. As I think about this, as I think about those pillars, I can see them. I mean, I was there and I saw them and it just brings me right back. And it was so beautiful. And it was so inspiring. We had such hope. Nefertiti and Akhenaten, they just were so inspiring. And they got fucked, you know? So there's more of that. Kali you. And again, I also don't know why the formula seems to be you got to have your ass kicked to be able to be qualified for some type of spiritual realization. I don't know. I don't know how or why that works. I don't really care. I just wish it wasn't, but it does seem to be very consistent. The most elevated personalities, the ones that start off as humans, do indeed seem to suffer before they make it all the way. And again, the Buddha was not, in my opinion, a human that became realized. He was an avatar. That's how Sanatan Dharma, as Hindus, we see him as an avatar, not as a person. But either way, he was a very evolved one. Again, like Ramakrishna Paramahansa, I don't personally feel that Ramakrishna Paramahansa was an avatar of a divine personality prior to his appearance. I think he became God realized in his life, but again, I don't know. I can't be sure. But bottom line is he was on the cusp. And as I mentioned, my friend Udow at Kusum Sarovar in the story, if he's not God realized, and what the emotion I get when I think of him is not just because his grace. See, when I think of an avatar, it's their grace that makes me just overwhelmed with ecstasy. When I think of Udow, the tears come because I feel that if he's not God realized, he's gonna be. And I am just so pleased for him and also to somehow been worthy to have the association with somebody that's either is or became such in this lifetime, became realized in this lifetime, or is going to be. That's miraculous and wonderful. Anyway, let's go over some eternal truths. We will not be able to go over all 23. And we don't need to, because again, many of them, again, that was the whole point, is could I, after that chapter, consolidate these into single sentences? The entire chapter is thick and long. I don't know how big it is, but it's not a smaller chapter. I mean, it's kind of a small chapter considering. But I wanted you to have access to these most essential tenets of your spiritual growth and progress, to be able to come to this book whenever you want and just refer to them, to remind yourself what the rules of machinations are. And again, God does not need to, nor do his saints need to adhere to Mike rules. They do so out of protocol and out of respect because we have to. We can't really even know why they do, why they take human form, why they die, why they go through what seem to be human things, and why we have to adhere to them as well, even though we associate with them and they could easily just shakti pop, boom, take us out of it. Again, if I suspect that there's a quantity and a magnitude of suffering that I must endure to be worthy of God realization in this lifetime, again, I don't know why that would be. Why do you have to suffer for? I don't know. That it's contradictory to what I see about divine love consciousness. But if there is, and again, if I was within the portal, I don't remember it, and they said to me, by the way, once you attain a certain quantity, and here's what it is, look at it as like a barrel. Like once you fill it up, like if you maintain your faith in spite of this magnitude and quantity of suffering and dejection, well, then you're gonna make it. So we're giving you the kind of the back way in. And again, what would I say? I'd say if they offered that to me, well, you can say no and go back and not have to suffer. And I'd be like, no. And again, as a stupid human, I'm kind of like, oh no, if I had that, I'd be like, no, I'll sign on with the devil, man. I want this shit to end. I'll sign the devil contract. That's problem, no problem. Devil went down to Georgia, and I'm signing that contract in blood. Give me what I want and need. I want to be safe again. But the reality is, in that moment, I wouldn't. I don't remember this moment occurring when I was there, but it probably did, considering. And the reality is, I am so thick-headed and spiritually stupid that I would be like, I'll sign that. Yes, suffering and all, whatever you got to do, man. Take me, whatever you got to do. And as I do point out in dialogue, when they say, okay, just don't forget you asked for this. They're rather passive aggressive. Don't forget you asked for this. Well, I know you won't let me forget it because you make sure they know that it's not your fault, it's my own fault. And I'm to blame. And again, this is accountability. The difference between good and bad people in this world is accountability. My struggles with the world is about accountability. People that are accountable for who and what they are, I have no problem with. I don't care who and what you are. I don't care if you're not even a good person necessarily. If you own that and you are true with it and you're sincere about it, well, I may not agree with you. That's not how I would live, but I know you're genuine. It's the people that have no accountability. And again, I give you a very material example. I have an electrical problem that just came up in my guest bathroom. Okay, I'm renting this house. So it used to be in my generation, when you had a problem with anything in the world, you called somebody up and you had to go through customer service and blah, blah, blah and get something addressed. But you would get somebody, right? Nowadays, it's, oh, I have the convenience. I don't have to call anybody. I just go online and submit a request to their management website. It's not a website. It's a service that every place that I have rented uses this exact same app. It's called Appfolio. And I sent a request in a couple days ago. And every time I do, I got to follow up and hammer it until I finally get to the point, maybe a week later down the line, where I'm in all caps. This is my fifth request. There is a light bulb out in my goddamn bathroom. Nobody's doing anything. And that's when I finally get somebody that might call me and respond and say, oh, we're sorry about that. That's what it takes. It's no accountability. This digital world that we live in makes it easy to ghost and not have any accountability. People have no responsibility. They don't give a shit. And it's because, again, everyone thinks at their office that somebody saw it and somebody's following up on it. Nobody's doing it. And they all know nobody's doing it. Accountability, whether it's material or spiritual, you are accountable and you will be one way or the other. And that's certainly a constant theme and message within this book. The soul is divine, not made of matter, but pure spirit. It is our essence. Real simple, easy truth. The physical, subtle, and causal bodies are made of matter. Physical, energy, and thought. Any confusion on that? The three different bodies? Again, I think that's, in one sentence, expands on this concept that people want to believe that mind is spirit. No, it's not. It can be. It's the bridge, but it is made of material matter. Your consciousness, everything about you, only your soul is divine. Cause and effect. Cosmic justice and balance is sustained with karma and sanskars. Karma regulates events and sanskars regulate character. Well, this is early on. That's why I'm using the word karma. Because before I get to the underground stream then I correct it. But before that, I use what's comfortable for people. Again, what so much is said in that, again, most people, I think both of you included, you didn't hear the word sanskar before you read this book, right? And once you heard it, you're like, holy shit, how do I not know that? That's pretty important, right? Pretty essential truth. It clears up a lot of stuff real quick. When I learned about sanskars, I went from plenty of self-loathing when I didn't feel good, plenty of trying to figure out the mysteries of why I was in a bad mood or whatever, my dispositions. And when I learned about sanskar, I'm like, oh my God, it all makes sense. And it made me very tolerant and forgiving of other people, as tiny amount that I actually have for people, that when they are not accountable and they are assholes or not spiritual or whatever they may be that I don't particularly want to associate with, I remind myself, it's a sanskar. They're not bad people. They have divine souls too. They're different sanskars. You have blessings. You have advantages and you're very fortunate. You're not superior. You're not better than they are. You simply have it and you were like them once before too. That was number 3.
Are you ready to change your mind and change your life? To enter within the portal? The ebook is free for a very limited time. From 6-time award-winning author Krishnan Scott Spacky, the most unprecedented near-death experience ever documented. Within the portal is being hailed as the be here now for a new generation. Media book mogul Kierkegaard says, impassioned, extensive, and dense. The author is well-versed in esoteric topics ranging from alchemy to past lives to kundalini energy. In his narrative, the good and the bad all connect through the concept of a soul developing over lifetimes and the idea that progress is never wasted because it carries over into the next life. There is an earnest appeal to it all. The author expresses his truth with a desire to help the reader think beyond what they might expect to find in common accounts of spiritual searching.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. Number 4, current life circumstances are destined by prior life karmas and sanskars. Again, essential. It makes us realize, okay, so the good things about me and the bad things, I'm just kind of lucky. I have earned them. They're mine. And I attained them, but they're just carryovers. I'm not superior because of this. I'm not inferior because of them. Intent of an action is what causes an effect, not the actions themselves. Well, I'm actually having some sense of pride here. I wrote this. This is pretty good. Pretty essential truths. Even in our worldly phenomena, in the court of law, intent is a big part of it. When somebody commits murder, there's first degree, second degree, third degree, and there's manslaughter. I've always wondered why manslaughter is such a brutal term when it's the gentlest one. Manslaughter sounds so violent, doesn't it? But manslaughter is the one where basically the court's saying, okay, it wasn't intentional. And you get a far lighter sentence, as you should, when you accidentally kill somebody rather than when you go out and murder somebody. Again, intent is essential. Unfortunately, this can be rather abused. I think a lot of our warped, crooked politicians and material despots get kind of passes. I mean, and I know this is going to be very grotesque sounding. Hitler, for example, the epitome of evil and disgust. The guy had good intention. He truly meant and believed what he was doing, and he wasn't literally trying to be evil. He had big ideas in big ways and was literally trying to make the world a better place according to his version of it. Literally was. His intent was quite pure in many ways. Purer than most. And he sure was driven. He was a motivated motherfucker, that's for sure. Relentless. It makes you wonder. I've often wondered. What if his intent was different? What if his objectives were different? With his passion and effectiveness, what if he would have been like Gandhi? Oh my God, Gandhi changed the world. Hitler could have done even more. I think Hitler would have made a better Gandhi than Gandhi did. You know? Okay, this is going to be misquoted in so many bad ways whenever it comes out. But you know what I'm saying? What he got done in a single lifetime, I mean, that's a little country. They almost won the entire war. They almost took over the entire world. That little tiny country took over the entire world, you know? Prior to D-Day and during the what was that thing called with the they made the movie of it with Churchill. I mean, literally before that event with the Churchill thing, Germany was like days away from winning the entire fucking war. This is right before we got in. And Churchill was like, please, please. We were like, no, not our business, man. You know? And then they had to go get those people out on boats and all this shit. And it was literally, Germany was like days away from winning the entire Europe, you know? It's insane. This little tiny country. So imagine if his intent and his actions were for a good cause, what he could have pulled off. That's staggering. I think this often when I see evil people in the world, that they're just misguided. Again, they have bad sanskars. They have bad karma. They're misguided. If they had the right understanding, right teaching, right motivations, what could they accomplish? I mean, I have great intention and I do good work, but I'm not accomplishing shit. I'm anonymous. Nobody knows me. There's two of you here. 6, most memory is forgotten from life to life. 7, living spiritually helps us remember the truths we gain within the portal. Most memories forgotten from life to life. I point out earlier that this is significant because imagine that you never slept at night and you were never tired. You didn't need sleep, rest to be able to feel refreshed. But imagine that you didn't have a break from every day, that they all ran together in one long, continuous time span. You'd kill yourself. Sleep isn't just important because we need to recharge the brain power, the brain battery pack, and the body. It's essential because we need a break. More than just lunchtime or taking a walk. We need to shut down and go unconscious and be dormant. This is the beauty of being within the portal and reincarnating. Reincarnating is that you get a clean slate. Indeed, with passive regression, you do begin to remember a lot. I mean, I remember a lot of past lives, and most of them are pretty tragic. And there's value in that. But I don't encourage that either, because mostly what people are going to learn from their past lives is how evil and shitty they were in the past. And unless you're willing to be accountable and do something with it, then you're wasting your time. You need a break. This is the mercy, God's mercy, to allow us to begin each life with a fresh memory, a fresh set without a memory. We have our sanskars that carry over, but we don't constantly know what they are. Whatever your favorite kind of ice cream is, If it's Rocky Road, that's a sanskar, and that's not a good one. That's just nasty. That's just bizarre. Marshmallows and ice cream is Hitler must have eaten marshmallows and ice cream, man. Nobody else. That's just bizarre. Your favorite kind of ice cream, you don't decide, you don't choose, you taste them, you're like, oh wow, that's my favorite. That's what I like. That's a sanskar. And so we don't need the conscious awareness of this. We have tendencies. And if we want to, which hopefully you do, and what this book is starting to activate and cause for you is the want to know why. Where did it come from? And again, not to go witness experientially, or I'm sorry, for entertainment, what my past lives were. Because again, as I asked the Akashic Agents, when I'm given a past life review, okay, but only want to see lives where I made progress, where I did not, so I can learn from it. Otherwise, what's the point? Yes, indeed. Like this movie that I mentioned that I'm watching. I'm just doing that one to pass the time. I mean, from day to day, I forget that I was even watching. I see it in my queue. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm watching a movie. Because otherwise I forget, because it's not that important to me. Entertainment is, again, kind of like the past, the forgetfulness. Living spiritually helps us retain our spiritual progress life after life, our sanskars. So you live this way, whatever you do, practice makes perfect. You're embedding your sanskars. You're creating them every day by the way you live, by the way you think, by the way you feel, what you associate with. You're creating sanskars. Invest well. Death experience features are determined by someone's personal needs to help them adjust to the event. Angels, loved ones who have passed on, white light, etc., are customized for each individual. Again, I often talk about how people want to know. Maybe people wouldn't even know they want to know until I explain it. And so we reached out to me for a podcast I was just on. They just emailed me this morning on that exact subject. That it gave them a clear answer as to why the NDE phenomenon is so different and variegated for certain people. Again, part of what I include things like this for is because I want to gain your confidence. I want you to know that, hey, I'm not just shooting off at the mouth here. I'm giving you reasonable, logical explanation. And divinity is logical and reasonable. They're not just magic and burning bushes. Which, by the way, the burning bush that I'm kind of overusing, it had good purpose to it too. There's a reason for that. Number 10, eternal truth. You are not alone and feel enveloped in perfect love that is personal and intimate within the portal. Number 11, life review and life preview are standard features for everyone, whether they remember them or not. These are used as teaching tools to encourage personal commitments to return to live more spiritually, not materially, not be good behavior, to live more spiritually. That's all that matters to the divine realm. That's all they care about. Everything they're giving you in your death experience, everything is purely to help you evolve and grow spiritually. The ND phenomena, people that talk about it, people that share, people that have them. It is a catalyst. It causes them to go from ignorance or indifference or having a more like an agnostic approach to their spiritual existence to, oh my God, this is really important. And again, partly what I complain about is that even though people do this and they get this wake-up call and have their illuminating moments, they don't do the work. They think, oh, I saw the proof of God, so therefore I'm done. Oh no, my God, this is where you just begin. Now you do the work. Nobody wants to do the work. And I don't blame them. Doing the work is hard and you will suffer a lot probably. I don't know. Maybe not. Depends on who you are. 12, confidence in the divine is more powerful than faith or hope. It's a little bit of a spin of my own as well. I've never felt that I have faith, and I've always been uncomfortable with the word. And hope to me also is a 4-letter word. They're nebulous. They're unknowable. They're not solid. Faith is a belief or acceptance of something you don't understand or have proof of. That's what the definition is. Even before I had direct interaction, direct darshans with spiritual and divine forces, I didn't have faith or hope. I had confidence. I had awareness. I don't have faith or hope that the sun is shining or it's going to be night tonight. I have evidence. I have historical evidence. I have enough accumulated evidence and experience to know that that's probably reality. Do I know for sure it's going to get dark tonight? No, I guess anything can happen. That's not true. Many things could happen, not anything. But the reality is, I have lots of confidence, not faith, not hope, that it's going to get light tonight and night tonight and light again tomorrow. I have confidence based on historical evidence, research, knowledge, experience. I've done the time. What I hope my work does for people is do just that. Make sense of the ineffable. Give you definitions and ways that it works so you can have confidence in it, not just magical faith or hope. Particularly our Western religions and their adherents. They rely on faith and hope. And again, I have a personal issue with that because what I see is that they can become lazy. They're not willing to do the work mentally, emotionally, and experientially to get to know it. And I fear for them because I think that limits their spiritual progress. 13, returning is not a choice. When, where, and how our soul returns is destined. Souls are given the impression of a choice to empower them. Again, this is explained more detailed in the reincarnation chapter. You can't suddenly decide, oh, I don't want to reincarnate. I don't want to. You never would come back. The portal, the divine realm, the spiritual realms, the celestial realm, whatever, they're all great, and this place a ghetto compared to them. You would not volunteer. Oh yeah, but I have more things to do. They give you that impression. Yes, you have more things. You have more karmas to live out. So therefore, you're going back. You give you the impression you can choose. But none of us. There's all these end years going like, well, and so I chose to go back to take care of my children. I'm like, yeah, right. Trust me, they're going to be fine. God herself is involved with every part of our lives, and spiritual administrators are always present. I use the herself there because I'm referring to the divine love aspect, the loving aspect, not the powerful aspect. God is androgynous, not a he or she. That's explained earlier as well. I use her when I'm speaking of the divine love aspect, and I use he when I'm speaking of the almighty aspect. 15, yearning for what you need spiritually is more valuable than what you want materially. Only that needs much elaboration. 16, the mature world is at our disposal to use as a resource to evolve spiritually. It is not for our entertainment. Our spiritual obligation is to pursue spiritual ambitions, not worldly ones. The worldly phenomena lure us. So it is important to resist its superficial charms and quest for spiritual ones. If I was chosen because of my story and my style and my experiences to tell this and hopefully turn on lights for people, I suspect one of the main reasons is because I'm not a saint. I'm not enlightened. I am a stupid human. And I think this helps other stupid humans. Because, again, when I read saints and sages, which is pretty much all I read, there's a part of me that's like, well, that's fine for you, but you're like really evolved, and I'm just a stupid human. I mean, I can't do those things. I can't be a Buddha. I can't do those things. And just that I'm demonstrating over the course of the story that I am still trying to pursue material happiness. I'm trying to have love, sex, money, a good time, baseball games, all that. And I'm not in any way compromising my spiritual progress to have them. I prioritize spirituality. More than prioritize, it is all that matters. But I don't neglect, nor do I shame my material needs and wants either. And I point out to have them, but not have them in excess. We need food. We need love. We need material things because we're stupid humans. I can't shame myself like a lot of the Western dogmas want me to do, feel bad because I want sex and love and all that. I can't help it. My name is now Krishnan. I have brown hair and I have brown eyes and I have desires and things that I want and I can't help it. I got to sleep, eat, go to the toilet. I'm a human. I have a responsibility to do these things responsibly and in consideration and sensitivity to my spiritual progress and the rules and machinations of them. No, you cannot have it all. Perfect worldly happiness and perfect spiritual bliss. No, you cannot. Not that I've seen. Once you're an avatar, you probably can. But very few of them do, because they're always demonstrating to us that make a choice. This is a consistent theme to choose and remember to see the worldly phenomena as a resource, a chunk of materials to use for your spiritual progress. Indeed, my romantic relationships, my parental relationship are material. I get that. I do not doubt. I've studied and learned that indeed these are material relationships, not divine, not spiritual. But they have spiritual depths to them. And they serve a spiritual purpose. There's no doubt at all, that I was able to exploit my romantic relationship as well as my parental one to evolve and grow, become a better person. Prior to my romantic relationship commitment, I was a hedonist, a lying, cheating philanderer, big difference. And I mean, and I was good at it. Prior to becoming a parent, I was a dope fiend, reckless, selfish piece of shit. I'm being a little hard on myself. I was all those things, but I was also had some good things too. But again, I wasn't all good, I wasn't all bad, but I was both. Becoming a parent made me accountable, made me realize that, you know what, I cannot have questionable values and virtues because of the way it's going to affect an innocent soul and person now. Again, even with Chow Chow Bang the cat sitting in the next room. He's not with me today. Why isn't he in here? I got a responsibility that extends beyond me to the two of you. To anybody that might watch these or read my book. I got a responsibility. I've got to use material resources to teach, to learn, to grow, to evolve. Again, it's about intent and conversion, to convert your material experiences and relationships to spiritual means. And also honor them for materially what they are. I'm proud to say that in my romantic endeavors, while I now see, and I always kind of suspected that my partner was somewhat jealous, that she was not number one, that God was number one in my life. And I'm not like, oh, well, screw you. I didn't treat her any less romantically, loved, affectionately. I didn't give her any less. I gave her all my material love, all of it. I give my son all my material love. I give the two of you, I give people my attention, all of it, not partial. I'm pretty passionate. But there is not just a fine line, a very wide band between my material and my spiritual. Again, if I was chosen to relate this story and produce this book for people on their own journey, is because they can relate to it and say, you know what, this guy's not some kind of saint. I struggle with the same desires and needs and wants, and he's showing me what's respectable, what aligns with the spiritual truths as well. And even when he does so, it doesn't always work for him, but he still does it. And I hope that's inspiring. I'm tenacious. I don't give up in spite of being kicked when I'm down. And again, as I point out, that I don't regret going to Washington and leaving my soulmate behind, so to speak. I had a choice to make. I chose my spiritual progress over my material one, and at its expense. It's not the outcome I wanted, but I was willing to risk it. And that's what I'm hoping to encourage and inspire. Try to have it all. But when you can't, you come to that fork in the road, turn to the spiritual, not the material. Try to have it all. Nothing, no shame in that. But try to keep your eyes open and realize that there's going to continuously become points where you have to choose between one or the other. And as Yeshua the Christ said, he who loves his father and mother more than me does not love me. He didn't say, don't love your father and mother. He says, honor thy father, honor thy mother. Pretty much in the same speech, I think. I think it's the Sermon on the Mount. He's saying, make me your guru, your master, personification of the God power. Make me your priority. Do not love them more, love them differently. Indeed, take care of them. Tend to your material affairs and your material concerns and your loved ones. But just in your heart, make me number one. Thou shalt have no God before me. Again, an oversimplified way of saying that God is not going to share, that to realize God, it must be a singular, total, 100%, that 99.9 commitment. Nothing else. Again, this is an important point because we live in a world that people, maybe it's just the little bubbles that I see, I don't know. But what I've seen throughout my life as a counselor and as a teacher and as a spiritualist, that people convince themselves that family is spiritual. That's the most important thing. And look, I'm all for supporting a family, and you should, all those things. But don't mistake them and think that this makes you spiritual. Again, this is pervasive in the Western religions, particularly the Catholic and the Christian ones, that there's this indoctrination to perceive that if you're a good parent and family member, then that will get you to heaven. That's it. That's all you need to do. I think that sucks. And quite ironically, the people that really militantly adhere to this, trust me, as a counselor that counsels a lot of families, these are some of the worst parents. Why and all that, I don't know. I'm just saying ironically, I'm going to move on. I'm not going to sit in that subject. 16. Oh, no, 17. My death experience was beyond standard due to two factors: my lifetime of spiritual study and practice, my direct association with an avatar. One, because of my sanskars, I accumulated. If I continue to have more profound experiences than most people might have spiritually, it's because I earned them. And I'm pointing out that it's not just going to happen. Do the work. Build up your spiritual bank account. Invest. Make deposits. That's going to be withdrawn from your next life. So again, the whole point of me making that point is not to point out that I'm not special. I'm not a saint at all. I worked my ass off for it, and it gets to carry over in your lifetime. And my direct association with an avatar. especially in the age of Kali Yuga. You ain't gonna go nowhere until you associate with a divine personality master. And that's a fact. All these 23 eternal truths come down to just one. You can't do this. You need a messiah. You need an avatar. You need a guru. You need a saint. That's going to be a fact. State 18. There are 17 main dimensions of the material phenomena. 8 hellish. There are 17 main dimensions of material phenomena. 8 hellish, 8 heavenly, 1 worldly in between. And then I say, I got the impression that there are many subdivision dimensions too. The 8 main hellish heavenly dimensions may have several subdivisions. Pop quiz time. My online students here. Why do you feel that it was very important for me to make that point? That there are 17 main dimensions of the material phenomena. And I say 8 hellish, 8 heavenly, and 1 world in between. And then many subdivisions. Somebody please give me an answer of why you think that I feel that that was a very important point to make in this book. Chloe?
Because it directly goes against the Western dogmas.
So you're calling me a rabble-rousing rebel? Calling me an antagonizer?
Yeah, you're just speaking the truth, though.
Yeah, that is a guilty pleasure. I definitely enjoy that part of it. There's no doubt about that. Yeah. I confess that indeed that's not the primary motivation, but indeed I do get a little like, yeah.
Yeah, but not even for that, but for the truth's sake of the truth of if we're limited in our perception of things, which we've been brought up in a very limited perception, whoever we are, whatever we've been given, to blow that open and to say, also, not only are there just 8 and 8 and 1, but there's likely infiniteness within all these spaces as well. And so open your mind to the eternality of things and to the
How is that beneficial for somebody that may have prior believed that there's heaven, there's hell, and there's the world?
It's a lot more opportunity.
Well, sure.
A lot more options.
But sometimes the massive wall of menu items on a menu just I go to Taco Bell, I'm like, what the fuck? You have beans, meat, cheese, and shells of different kinds. Why is there a wall of menu? You basically have 5 things in this entire place. Like Chipotle just like walk along, just tell them what you want. There's maybe 5 items on their entire menu because you just tell them what you want. Taco Bell's got and I walk in, I'm like, okay, I'm getting a hemorrhage. I can't decide all this. This is too much information. I can't take this. I got to go. So I got hungry. Literally have left there without eating because it's too much. So yes, it gives you options, but yet I'm distilling it down to show you that there's really only a few. And again, the key that I'm leading you to is in the primary sentence. There are 17 main dimensions of the material phenomena. I didn't underline it. I didn't italicize it, which I'm very kind of prone to do, which my editor did not like. She was always saying, like, stop italicizing and underlining shit. People get it. And I'm like, I don't think they do. I want to italicize material phenomena to put emphasis on that. The point is that I want people to understand that so often what they have been conditioned and brought to believe is that what they're trying to attain is part of the material phenomenon, not the divine one. The heavenly abodes, celestial abodes, they're not part of the divine abode. They're part of the material phenomenon. And they are heavenly. Trust me, when you go there, listen, they're really wonderful. You can eat and enjoy food and things and sensual things, but you don't have to. People there don't smell. You don't need to bathe. Literally, when you exist in the celestial realm, and there's many of them, so but just pick one. It's better than here. It ain't perfect. And indeed, when I got to stop what I'm doing in the middle of a busy day, and of course later on in the day, it gets more frequent. I've got to go to the bathroom. I've got to get something to eat. I've got it. Then when I'm eating, I'm like, oh, great. Now I got to go to the bathroom again. While I'm up, I better do all this at once so that way I can get back to work when I can sit down. Nothing worse than when I sit down to go to work and I'm like, oh, great. I forgot to pee. I forgot to get some water. All these material bodily needs. I'm like, God, does this never end? In the celestial realms, some of the highest ones, you don't have to deal with any of that. You smell good, you look good, you feel good. You don't need to eat. You can if you want to, but you don't need to. You don't require it because you have a celestial body, not a material body, not in the same way. So it's either less or sometimes even none. That sounds heavenly. It is indeed heavenly. But the point that I want people to know, to not mistake this, because when you spend time, which is explained earlier on in the chapter, when you spend time in your celestial abode and celestial realm, eventually when your karmas run out, when your karmic deposits are done, when that well is dry, you're back to the material phenomenon. You spent your karms, your account is depleted, and now you're back to where you were. So you're wasting your time. The divine realm is teaching us and explaining explicitly, do not try to attain these as destinations because, first of all, they're very difficult to pull off. You got to be really, really good. And I like to think that in my last years of my life, since I pretty much am doing no harm to anyone that I know of, and I'm barely interacting with anybody to begin with. The few interactions I have are for good reasons and good purposes, and people benefit from them, that I, in many ways, would qualify for very good karma in their next life or a celestial one. And again, if I get to within the portal, St. Peter at the gate kind of thing, and they say, well, we got 8 celestial abodes, and you can take your pick, man. You've been pretty good. You didn't start off so good, but you ended up pretty good. So you've earned it. Take your pick. Pick one of the ones you want. And I'd be like, no, I'm not falling for that. Because I know that when I'm done there, I got to come back here. No, I'll stick it out. Because remember, what's pointed out earlier in the chapter is that in your celestial and hellish abodes, you can receive karma. You do not create karma. When you're in a celestial abode, a heavenly abode, you can receive all your good karma in a paradisal, utopian existence. And in hellish ones, you're just suffering. You're receiving karma, but you're not able to make more. Only in the material realm. It must be in the next one, isn't it? Yep. Number 19. The hell heaven abodes are for receiving karmas for a duration of time before returning to the world. Only in the middle worldly dimensions do we create new karmas. Desiring exists in all of them. So yeah, I should have just probably started with that one. Again, the point is that I emphasized this and made sure it was here because I need people to know that you can't prioritize by being a good person, being charitable, materially, etc. You will indeed attain heaven as they all say they want. You know, as the Muslims want the 50 virgins or whatever it may be. I don't. Why would I want some girl who doesn't know how to do anything? That's not going to be a good thing. No, give me the whore, please. Give me the slut. Because yeah, that one lot of experience. Yeah, that one looks a little bit worn out. Yeah, she's skilled. I'm going to hell, aren't I? I want people to know that. And again, I think that's a good example with the Muslims that they want to attain this celestial abode of pleasures. Why? Haven't you learned yet that just eventually becomes complacent? And again, eventually, the eternal truths are that they're all temporary. And again, our Rasic saints, my guru, the Rasic saints, the divine love saints are telling us again and again and again, do not. The Vedas are very clear. They teach you all about celestial abodes. And finally, somewhere in there, they put a couple of sentences in. That's it. Just little reminders. By the way, you don't want this shit. This is still part of the material phenomena, not the divine. You don't want it. It's still part of the material phenomena. It still has its flaws that you may not perceive very well. It's way better than where you're at, but you don't want them. It's still part of the material phenomena, not the divine. it is often spoke of that in the age of Kali Yuga, we have a better chance at God realization because we've graded on the curve, which I talk about often. And then many souls want to incarnate during Kali Yuga because it's shitty, because they get that graded on the curve advantage. And that's, again, the emphasis, what's told earlier on in the chapter, reminding people that be grateful, desire the material phenomenon where you can create calm and do spiritual devotion and progress, because you can't do it in the other realms. Like the portal, you're in a dormant state. You're not really doing anything. You're not doing anything bad or anything good necessarily. You're just enduring. You'll enjoy the celestial abodes very, very much. But do not desire them. Do not try to attain them. They're still part of the material phenomenon. You're caught in the endless loop of reincarnation. It ain't worth it. It's kind of like going to work, not getting a paycheck. I don't even know if that's the right analogy. We want one ultimate destination, divine realization, divine consciousness, nothing less. The celestial and heavenly abodes do not have that. Now, agreed. Western religious people, Christians, Abrahamic religions, and I can't say Abraham because the Jews don't have like a heavenly kind of thing. They're far more mature. We'll tell you, yeah, but we're talking about the same thing you are. We're talking about God's abode. And yes, you are. But, and I'll contradict, and I'm going to get some hate mail probably for this if it comes out. But the Western God power is the almighty aspect. It is the creator. In Sanatana Dharma, it is Brahma, the creator of the material phenomena. It is a God, but it is not the ultimate top of the tier God. Brahma still is a soul that will eventually do his time. And again, this is Vishnu in Sanatana Dharma in Hinduism. The Western God is the creator of the universe. Divine God does not create the universe. Divine God delegates, has a Brahm, a Vishnu, a Shiva, to create, sustain, and destroy the world. God himself doesn't do any of that. God is just divine love, and that's it. So partly what I'm trying to help people understand is that I'm trying to straighten out the crooked ways, that you can indeed attain divine love simply by complete surrender and total love, let's say, of the Christ, of Yeshua. But not of, am I going to say this? But not of the almighty creative aspect of the God power. There you know, I'm not naming it. I'm just putting it out there. I'm being treading a little bit lightly. Let's move on before I wade in too deep. Number 20, there are Buddhas, teachers, Buddhas task / teachers in each dimension that illuminate the truth and encourages to move on and away from hell heaven and to aspire for divinity only. This is very well explored and explained within the Books of the Dead. In the Tibetan books of the Book of the Dead, it goes into great detail that partly what you're trying to prepare for as you prepare in your life for the dying experience is to attain a relationship with one of the Buddha's teachers and guides in the celestial, into the in-between state. It is again in all of the Eastern scriptures taught that in any of the celestial realms that you go to, and again in Tibetan Buddhism it's very detailed, that there are many dimensions and again 8 in Tibetan Buddhism of the heavenly abodes. And each of them has a Buddha, and they call the green Buddha, the white Buddha, the blue Buddha. They're literally colors. And you could say they're kind of like kings or sovereigns, presidents of that celestial abode. And they teach and guide you if you want to participate in it. You can just enjoy your celestial time, or you can also, and you would want to, because they're so dynamic personalities, you'd want to go and see them speak, go and associate with them. These Buddhas in these celestial realms, again, they temper and remind us that, hey, don't forget that as great as this place is, it still ain't, there's something better. They're there as representatives of the God power. This is God's grace, giving us avatars, gurus, and masters, even in the celestial abodes. They remind us that, hey, this is great, but don't get too attached. Again, about the attachments. Don't get too attached. You don't want this to be your total aspiration. They're there to remind us that as great as it is, there's something better. That what you want is absolute God, divine love, divine love aspect of God and God's love. Number 21, Akashic agents, parenthetical, guardian angels / spiritual administrators. I abbreviated admins. I can't believe my editor let that go. Oh, because it wasn't Barb, the editor. It was one of the other ones I had. She would never have let me just use admins. That's such a colloquialism. Anyway, sorry, the writer in me. See, there you go. It's like when I watch that movie, I sit around like that. Now I'm out of context. No, that's all I'm focused on. I'm going to go to hell now for that. I should never let that in there. Akashic agents, guardian angels / spiritual administrators are present within the portal. They take on any form that pleases you to assist you on your soul's journey. 22. Only the divine. 22. Only the divine realm is perfect and desirelessness and desireless. And 23. The divine abode is above, below, and omnipresent. Once attained, it is eternal. It is the purpose and goal of existence. I don't think there's much to elaborate on that. I may just reread it. And again, as they had at the gates, when you go to a Jew's home, don't know if you've ever noticed, but there's usually, oh, suddenly I just had the name in my head. Now it's blocked out of my head. There's, oh, it's I'm not getting the name. Methuselah. Anyway, when you go to a Jew's home, at their door, if you look on the sash around the door, there's usually a small little case. It's about the size of my thumb, and it's crooked.
Mezuzah?
Mezuzah. Thank you, Mezuzah. All right, speak up. Tell me what's in there. What is a mezuzah?
I don't know. I just looked it up.
Oh, thank you. Mezuzah. I wasn't doing too bad, right? I said the M right, remember, Mezuzah. What's in there is a copy of the 10 Commandments in a very small form, sometimes crushed, sometimes written down on a little scroll of paper. It is a reminder for them as they enter their home, in and out of their home. They see it all the time. You may not notice it when you go to Jew's house, but they notice it. And again, this was present as Moses came down from the mountain and saw them all dancing around and being hedonists and having a party. And he was like, "The hell's wrong with you?" He gave them the 10 Commandments. Again, the true story, the historical story, is that indeed this event did occur. Not quite as dramatically, but as the historical Moses, who is Akhenaten, the Pharaoh king, who, again, once he spent much time on the mountain in meditation and gave, again, there isn't 10 of them. I think there's 12 or 18 of the tenets that were posted at the gates of the city of Akhetaten. The 10 Commandments, which again are the diluted version of the authentic original ones that were far more than just don't kill anybody, a little more nuanced. They're posted. I myself, what's behind my head, which today seems to be pretty well, I have like a halo over my head. That's my alchemy mirror. Literally, that's a true alchemy mirror. And I bought that in Santa Barbara. It was a gift to me. Jeanette gave it to me, got it for me on one of our trips to Santa Barbara, in Ojai, actually. And the clock's a different thing, but it kind of represents the same kind of thing to me. It was actually a garage sale kind of thing. Another story. The point of that mirror is you can see it, and it's about the right height where when I stand in front of it, I can see my face, and I have a halo. This is to remind me of what my goal is. Alchemists would meditate with a mirror like this to be able to see themselves as illumine, to again visualize, to be able to intensify their commitment and their passion to attain it. And that meditation particularly was to literally stare at yourself, kind of like a yantra. You're saying at yourself, and some bizarre shit happens when you just stare at your own image. Some very transcendental kind of things can occur when you do it for a long, long time. Like that candle flame becomes something else. Anything can. Anyway, my point is that those two articles on my wall remind me, as all of our things in our house, in our homes do, remind us of who and what we are, where we've been. We have little artifacts, little mementos that we have acquired through our other lives, pictures of our children, pictures of people, whatever. And we put these things around to evoke and invoke emotion, things that we enjoy, things that are meaningful to us. No matter where you are in my home, I don't have, as many devotees do in my bhakti path, their home is covered in images of Radha, Krishna, Guru Kripalu. I have considerably less because as a somewhat public personality teaching people and counseling people within my office in my home, I wasn't trying to inundate people with this. I'm more subtle. But the bottom line is this: no matter where you are in my home, I don't care where it is, within eye view is a divine and sacred object that represents my ultimate goal. It ain't all over in your face in a very obvious way so much. I try to be a little more subtle. But no matter where I am, I don't care about anybody else. No matter where I am, a little example, on my coffee maker, I have a little tiny round picture. It's a little gold globe, literally about this big, that has Maharaji's face in it. And it's sitting out there by my coffee maker because when I'm getting coffee, I see him. So pretty much everywhere I go in my house, in some small way, again, I have a picture of Radha Krishna in my bathroom, my guest room, my guest bathroom, and my other bathroom. I actually had a pracharak who visited me in my house. And she came out of using my bathroom and brought me the picture and said, this shouldn't be in there. You should have a sacred object, a divine thing, of Radha Krishna in a bathroom, in a toilet. And out of courtesy, I thanked her and I set it aside. We continued our conversation. And then when she left, I put it back. Because I remember what my guru told me. God is everywhere. when you're eating, sleeping, doing divine things, doing your sadhana, and when you're on the toilet too. And you cannot make God dirty. God can make you clean, but you cannot make God dirty. And anything that you do, God is perfect. God is divine. God is flawless. You cannot take anything away from God. God can only give to you. So I wasn't going to argue with her. I like her very much and I respect her very much, but I think she was incorrect. I know she was. Again, my point is that I had it there and still do, because whether I'm on the toilet, coming in out of the shower, I want to be in view. I want to have a clear, direct view of a representative of my divine avatar, of my divine aspect, of my guru, of my master. I don't want anything else. Again, this is the point of the, what was the name of that device? Mezuzah.
Uza.
Yeah.
Sounds like a gun. The mezuzah. So the point of the mezuzah, again, is a reminder, and I encourage this for you, to place sacred objects in big or subtle ways around. Again, as I wear this little band that just looks like a hippie bracelet. They're called Rakis in India, R-A-K-I. And they're small little like wish bracelets that these particular colors, my avatar guru placed it on my hand when I was doing seva, and I had a collection of them. It's just a gentle reminder. I have my watch over here, and I have my Raki on my right hand. That may not mean anything to anybody else, but for me, it's a reminder. We need these reminders because we are stupid humans. Because of our avaratnamic, we will forget our divinity. We need to remind ourselves as much and not as often as we can. Again, the bullet points, these 23 eternal truths. Good to review occasionally. I also have little blurbs and things on my refrigerator. I have a picture of Radha Krishna on my refrigerator. I also have got a Sanskrit proverb. It's not the number 22 and 23 literally were the last ones I wrote. They're the first ones I wrote. I put them last because there's nothing else to be added, or there's nothing else. Only the divine realm is perfect and desireless. The divine abode is above, below, and omnipresent. Once attained, it is eternal. It is the purpose and goal of existence. I like to think that this 535-page book all comes down to that one sentence, that one partial sentence. It is the purpose of your existence. That's it. The divine abode, the divine dimension is above, below, and omnipresent all the time. It is the goal of your existence and nothing else, nothing less. No heavenly, no hellish, no material. And hopefully, no matter what we endure, what we're asked to endure to get it, it becomes more than worth it. And as we wrap up here, let me finish. Talk about Moses again. I like to demonstrate my reverence, respect, admiration, adoration for Western theology. Let's not forget that what Moses did for those stupid people They were ungrateful. He goes up to the mountain, took them on all this journey, and then they come down, they're having a party and burning things, creating effigies. It was insane. After all they went through, parting the Red Sea, for God's sakes. If that doesn't make you eternally remember that God is legit and real, how can you forget after seeing that? And finally make it to the promised land. And everyone can go in except for Moses. And it was simply because God told him, because you broke my rule. You made water because they were all dying of dehydration. He used a divine power to produce water. And that's why he was not allowed into the promised land. He did all this other stuff. This one little thing that he didn't do, that God told him not to do, that's it. You're out. You don't get to go in. What a raw deal, man. I think that is a mystery worth trying to fathom. I think the Jewish plight, I admire and respect Judaism so much because they're one of the few religions that literally are like, you ask them, what do you believe in? Like, what do you mean, what do we believe in? We don't believe in anything. We are God's children. Well, what do you need to do? Nothing. Do you need to accomplish things? Do you need to attain things? Do you need to meditate? Just need to live by God's rules, by God's laws. That's it. What will you get when you do that? Get? What do you mean? I'm not getting anything. Why are you doing it? Because he's God and we're his children. What do you mean? There's no heavenly abode. There's no divine attainment. There's nothing. Nothing. The Jewish philosophy is not about some ultimate attainment. There's very little talk about heaven or hell or oneness or anything like that. And I admire this so much that they just serve God because he's God, because they're his people. They're his chosen people. That's it. They're not concerned with, that is true dharma. They're not concerned with what's in it for them or what's not. They do it because that's the way it is. I hope to be so evolved. Again, our saints and sages and masters, all of us tell us the exact same thing. Do not love and surrender to God for what's in it for you. I can't deny that I want liberation out of material phenomena. I cannot deny that I want divine love and experience unund bliss. And it certainly is a motivator. When you strip all that away, and again, this is the part that stays true in my core. It's not why I'm doing it. I love him. God help me. I love him. Dysfunctional, abusive relationship. He beats shit out of me, and I just keep coming back for more because I love him. And I'm like, saying like you did about anybody that's abusive, you're like, yeah, but you don't know him like I do. You know, but when we're together and we're alone, they to me like really special. You don't know him like I do. It's very unique. You don't understand. You don't get it. You don't. It's different for me. This is supposedly this is the criteria. to not serve God or love God because of what's in it for you. The saints and avatars, from Yeshua to Kripalu, have made it very clear to us. Never mind any of your personal attachments, desires, wants, or needs. When you truly surrender, you just love God regardless. And you don't even care if God loves you back. In my core, I think in some ways I've attained this. Again, no matter what happens, I just keep loving him. I don't want to. I mean, I like say, like, don't do it anymore. Stop. Like, this is bad. This is becoming toxic, you know? And I'm like, yeah, I know, but I can't help it. I can't help it. I don't know why. Anyway, let's just wrap that up. I don't want to go on about that. Let's wrap up. Any questions? Any comments?
Sometimes they pop right up, but usually I have to digest things for a little while.
Please do. And listen, don't hesitate in our next get together to begin with some of those questions. Make a note of them. Okay.
Yeah.
Send them to me if you want. And again, I'll try to remember myself and we'll address them. It should always be a follow up. We're going to begin as this leads into the Guru series through the holidays. We've got a few classes, workshops are going to be in the Guru series, and I think the Eternal Truth leads into this. I thought it was a great dovetail, which just coincidental. I just picked them kind of randomly. Chloe helped me pick them out, and so it wasn't that deliberate. And yet, of course, there's always some divine influence. That again, my personal material subhuman agenda partly is the Guru kind of gives me a chance to elaborate on in your Christmas the connection, the parallels between the Christ story and the Krishna story, which I think are phenomenal. And they don't detract from either one. I'm not saying calling bullshit on anything. I'm saying look at how they align. And we get to have fun exploring these things. And again, this is true satsang, true sadhana. True satsang is spiritual association. In whatever way we associate. And so we get to explore this guru concept. And it's ironic that in the West, so many spiritual people that wake up and feel they see the hypocrisy of organized religions. And I agree with them totally. I support that. And again, they turn away from that. And so again, recently, a woman that I met here in Carmel, and she was saying that she also found the Eastern spiritual paths because she turned away from the Western because of their hypocrisy. It's unfortunate, but it's often a catalyst. But she was saying, and so it's all about, I got to go within. I got to attain my divinity, all that from within. That's all on me. And I said, yeah, but you're missing the point. There's one thing that you don't have and can't have: grace, divine grace. You don't have it. And everything you've learned was from an avatar, was from a divine saint, was from a divine personality. You didn't do this on your own. So don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You do need a savior, a messiah, a saint, a sage, a guru. You do need this. You can't attain it without it. And again, the bottom line is there's one final thing that they have that we cannot get on our own. That is grace. Capital G, grace. To divinize us. I'm all for doing it on your own. I'm a DIY kind of man, for sure, in everything. But even as an Ashtanga Yoga teaches you, I'm going to teach you the 8 paths of yoga to be able to attain liberation and enlightenment. And the Buddhist path teaches you through the Noble Truths and through the Eightfold Path to get to the threshold. And at the end, it says, and then you got to give it up and surrender your final attachment. You got to surrender. Only then. So in other words, you got to give it all up to the divine power and admit defeat, that you can't do it on your own. You need intervention. You need divine power to divinize you. And this is the beauty. I too once had a feeling of powerlessness. So I can't do this. I don't rely on some outside entity. And then it came full circle. And the guru concept teaches us that here's the good news. Guess what? Don't think that you can't do it. Think that you don't have to do it on your own. You don't have to. Give it all up and they will just take care of you. They'll make it happen for you. Surrender your heart and mind. What are you using those for anyway? They're pretty stupid. They're pretty useless. I mean, look at how messed up it is, all dirty and shitty and cloudy, and you're confused it's and that's all you gotta give to God. The thing it doesn't even work well. Give that up. And you gotta take care of all of it. So we're going to explore and get into the guru concept and the meaning of grace, avatar, divine intervention. I think we're going to leave it at that. Divine intervention. That's going to be kind of the primary focus. Divine intervention. Okay, so we'll wrap it up. Thank you for being here with me. Thanks for sharing this time.
Thank you.
Go with God. Glory to the essence of divine love. J.J. Shirade. Any questions or comments? Okay. See you both real soon.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Give someone life purpose for the holidays. A single reading provides insights and detailed analysis from numerology, astrology, tarot, the I Ching, and the Tree of Life. Why are you here? What is your purpose? How can you fulfill your destiny? Give to a loved one or to yourself. You've waited long enough. Holiday special, life purpose reading for just $133. Order now to have your custom reading completed by the holiday.